Hello transport nerds and welcome back to Talking Planning. Over the last few weeks I've gone on a bit of a transport nostalgia trip, throwing in a couple of extra reviews of 90s and early 2000s buses, like the B10L, an early B12 BLE, and a one-off B7 RLE, and even a high-floor coach. I think it's time to balance the budget a little and pop in a little electric zing. So let's check out one of Transit System's first electric buses, their sole Yutong E12, numbered 8083. This Yutong bus started life on trial at Premier Transport Group and was subject to quite a lot of press, as back in 2019, battery electric buses were pretty new to Australia, despite being quite popular and successful overseas. I'm not sure about the exact success of this trial, but the press appeared positive, and given the fact there are some pretty large commitments to electric buses out there today, I think it went alright. After the trial, this bus was acquired by Transit Systems, and in November 2019, it joined their fleet, still in its demonstrator livery. I was in Sydney at the time, and this ended up being the very first Sydney electric bus I ever caught. So let's have a look inside. Once on board, you'll notice that these seats are a little different to the usual design, with aluminium plates on the back and a bucket rather than bench seat design. The fabric is just a plain blue, rather than anything too exciting. As we head past one of Central's many entrances, you'll also see the tiny little stop bell light illuminate, which are pretty hard to spot from the back of the bus. It was also a rail replacement weekend, so you'll see some unusual metal waiting along Eddy Avenue before our reflection appears in the fire station windows, only to be blocked out by a passing Precision VST. Have a quick listen to this bus too. Moving up front, the wheelchair seats are quite small and slimline compared to regular ones, but there's also a nice view out the side windows from up the front. If you look closely, you'll also spot USB ports, which I haven't seen on any other bus around Sydney. There's also a reminder to breathe easy, but to do that, we might need a fair few more of these electric buses, and of course a lot less private cars. Moving off, you can see that there's a seatbelt to help provide additional safety for strollers, wheelchairs and other mobility aids. And of course, let's see if those USB ports are any good. 5V, 2.1 amps. Reasonably decent, although some quick charge would be nice to see in the future. This review was recorded back in February 2021, so the taped off front seat and sit stand here stickers were still out in force. As the reflection of this bus passes in the surrounding glass, I want to talk quickly about the exterior styling. Most other Yutong E12s that I have seen don't have this extra trim piece around the top, presumably to save costs. I think it actually makes a big difference to the design, and the other Yutongs without it, such as the ones at Brisbane Transport or the one that Logan Coaches trialled a couple of years back, don't look quite as fresh and modern. Let's go through specs again. A peak output of 350 kilowatts, approximately 470 horsepower, and continuous output of 290 horsepower and 3,200 Nm of torque continues to be, well, unrivaled, quite frankly. I recently reviewed Brisbane's Yutong in my last Busweek series, and it performs pretty impressively. I also now have a zero emissions transport playlist, which is worth checking out if this sort of thing really excites you. And now that the retirees who are boasting about high housing prices have finally reached their stop, we can have a proper listen to this bus too. This E12 seems a little louder than the Brisbane ones, but it also has a pleasant cyberpunk-like sound to it. The other weird thing is the bells, which are mounted on the sides of the poles and not facing back towards you, which could get a bit confusing. Anyway, as my journey is coming to an end, it is time to say thanks for joining me, and I will see you again soon.